Hey everybody, Scott Carson here. Hope you are doing well today. It is Hump Day Wednesday. Hopefully the audio is working this second time around. Excited to be here as always. Today's topic is something I think everybody struggles with for the most part. And it's all about the aspect of going bigger in your business. All right. Go big, go big, go big, go big. That's what we want to do. And we're excited to be here. As first and foremost, I always am excited that you guys are listening, you're paying attention. You join us here on whether it's on Facebook Live or you're watching us on a replay on video via Vimeo or YouTube, or you're literally listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, any of the podcast platforms. First and foremost, thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being interactive with everything. And that's one of the big things that is very humbling to me that you guys are here. We're so excited to provide this on a daily basis for you. And it's just overwhelming. Like yesterday, we had 1,000 downloads on our podcast and different episodes. And so that's always an exciting day when you hit, the 4 figures on a download. So that is exciting. It's humbling, and our show is rocking and rolling along, and we keep trying to deliver good stuff for you. So, what we want to do today's topic, as I said, is something I think everybody struggles with initially. I mean, I honestly, as we get started, well, thank you, Mr. Eric Hyde. Appreciate that. It's nice when the audio works. Yes. That is the truth. I would agree to that. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Laura Blanc. Thank you, Eric Hyde. We tried this earlier, and for some reason the audio wasn't working. But anyway, getting back to the point at hand. We all want to do big things. I don't think we get into real estate or as entrepreneurship to do something and that we want to make $15 an hour, or we want to make 30 grand, or we want to make we want to work so hard to make less than minimum wage. A lot of us, though, when we dive into entrepreneurship, I know it's like foreign ground. It's like new territory. What do we do? What do we say? We're like brand new puppies. Like everything's exciting. We don't know which way to go. Unfortunately, I'm a big believer that a lot of the real estate seminars or the gurus out there don't prepare you to do big things. They prepare you for the one-off asset. They'll fix and flip. They'll try to do everything yourself aspect of things, and they're not helping you in the long run to really go big. They're not helping you do bigger things because they're so used about getting the one asset. It's a singular focus. Okay? It's not about scaling your business. It's about the individual asset, and scaling is a very important part, and I think you need to be focused on it initially from the get-go, because as like my good buddy Aaron Young says, start with the end in mind, right? If you want to build a business, you've got to build a big foundation. To build a big building, you got to have a good foundation, right? And unfortunately, most people are building very small foundations, and they wonder why they struggle when they try to go big, because they're not set up or prepared for that big jump. If I could look back at anything over my last 14 years as a true note investor, true real estate entrepreneur. Now, yes, I started investing in real estate in 2001, 2002, fell flat in my face, messed up tragically, got up, licked my wounds, and went in a different direction than where I went before. And I was fortunate enough to get some really good mentors, get some great people out there that really helped me out. Starting off with Bob Lee and Eddie, Jimmy Kayla, Boyd Pops, started a mortgage company with. Those guys helped set me off in a good direction. They gave me some great coaching, mentorship on where I needed to go, and they were able to help me do things bigger and better than what I originally had thought before. And so one of the things I see people struggling with, and I see this on a daily basis. I know that sounds kind of like a broken record sometimes where I see, but I do pay attention to what people are posting. I do pay attention to where people are posting as well, whether it's on Facebook in the groups or in Bigger Pockets. I may not always respond, but I do keep my, ear to the grindstone, or nose to the grindstone, ear to the rail, to see exactly and listen into where everybody is struggling, where everyone is getting bogged down. And the biggest thing I see people getting bogged down these days is most people are like, well, I can't find assets. I'm having a hard time finding decent one-off assets. And you have to realize that the market has evolved. Especially the note market in the last 12 months has evolved dramatically to the point that the one-off buyer, the one-off investor, if you're buying 3 assets or less, you're probably not going to get a lot of stuff accepted. You're not going to be in a spot to really make things happen. And why is that? And I'm not trying to burst anybody's bubble, because they're like, oh, most people are looking at what they have in savings, what they have in their IRA, and that's how they are valuing the amount of assets that they can buy, the amount of assets they can fund. And that is so reverse. It's so bad, because it becomes a not a plentiful mindset, mindset, but a scarcity mindset at that point. Oh, I can only bid on these 2 assets because I only have 25 grand, or I can only bid on these 3 because I've got 50 and that's all I've got. They don't realize that the wealth of information out there, the wealth of people with assets or money sitting on the sidelines, just waiting for something to happen, they don't get that. They don't believe in themselves. And I see this happen over and over and over again. I also see, and I've talked to a lot of people recently who are like, oh, I made 4 offers, or I made 3 offers, or I can't get my offers accepted. I said, well, how many bids did you submit? And I said, submitted on 3. Well, what happened? Well, they told me that asset got bought up as part of a mini bulk or a bulk. It's been sold. And that's, if I could look back, if I have one regret in this note business, it's that I didn't buy a lot more earlier on. I didn't buy, and yes, we're talking, it's a decade. It's hard to believe 10 years has gone by since 2008 to almost 2009, with everything going on. I mean, we're at the 10-year mark, and we've been talking about this for 10 years, that we thought this business was going to last 3 years, right? And it's still here, and it's going to get. I saw somebody else post about the fact that all these companies are creating non-prime loans, or doing the same shenanigans in the mortgage industry like they were doing over a decade ago. We're going to see this stuff again. It's just that at that peak we're at right now, the people that are getting the most amount of deals accepted are those that are going big. Okay, they're going big. They're buying in bulk. All right, and by bulk, I'm not talking 100 assets. All right. Going big is a little bit different than going out there and buying 100 assets and not having a clue. I understand you've got to cut your teeth. You've got to get your systems in place if you're going to go big. You've got to have the time, because it takes time. You've got to have the vendors. You've got to have the people available to help you out with it. You got to have your servicing company set up, your attorneys. There's some things that you've got to set up. But you've never been able to go as big or grow a bigger business than you have in the society and where the world is at today. With social media, with the marketing, with the ability to connect with people at an unparalleled fashion, all right? With the way that social media works and Facebook groups and meetup groups, you have the availability to go big much faster than before. And I wish that I would have bought a lot more earlier on, because it was a lot cheaper pricing 10 years ago. I mean, literally pennies on the dollar. But the thing you look at is, I was that same mindset. Oh, I've only got a little bit of this money. I got to find a buyer to this before I close on my deal. And that's not what you want to keep in mind. What you want to look at is, starting off right off the bat, the whole go big mentality starts with the offers that you make. Okay. I talked to probably 4 people in the last 48 hours who've called me and said, I got my bids. I tried to make, I got this tape of 100. I narrowed down the 3 that I really wanted. I spent a lot of time on due diligence on this stuff. I've spent, day and a half. I really dove into it, submitted my bids, and I came back and found that they were already bought, or they just closed with somebody else. And I hear that over and over again. And I have really changed my focus on how we submit offers to not spending much time on the front end. And I see some people commenting online. I see some people that are doing on my Instagram posted. I'm live streaming too. Hey, buddy, good to see you guys. Howard, Mr. Tennis 13 Design, Elijah White's good to see you guys out there this morning. Thanks for joining us on there. One of the most liberating and the most, I'd say that on the unshackling of things was when I really started to give less of a shit about due diligence on the front end. I know that's going to sound, what? You mean you don't know everything about the asset before you make an offering? And the thing is, no. When we get pools in, my goal is I want to try to control that pool. I want to get an offering almost immediately in. And so sorting those assets by just a couple things to help me identify the bulk of the stuff I'm looking at. Yeah, it may be 400 assets to a tape, but I'm going to look to send an offering of at least 30, 60, maybe even 100 assets at a time. Yes, it's going big. And some people your hiney hole just went, oh my God, you couldn't pass gas or pass a pee if you need to, if you thought about that. How do I know this? Because my whole staff freaked out when we told them, hey, that's what we're doing. They're like, huh, what? And I laughed. I'm like, listen, when we submit 100 offers, I guarantee you we're not going to get 100 accepted. There's going to be some that are resold off, some that the collateral's missing. There's some that we're going to kill once we get an accepted offer price point, or they counter back that we end up killing anyway. If they accept our price on some of these, great. Maybe we overbid on a few, but I guarantee they're going to be excited more than anything else to deal with somebody who's got 100 offers in, one person with 100 offers versus dealing with 100 people with one offering. Okay? And as I said, it's a go big mentality. Submit 100, boom. And that has happened every time we submitted a large pool book offering. 100 offers in, 60 came back countered. Some have been sold out of the 40. That's okay. We still found some really good one. So Eric Hyde asked a really good question. When you are bidding on 30, for example, are you making one large price bid or 30 individual IDs? And I think that means bid. He just left the B off. Okay. So it's basically what I do when I submit a bulk offering in is I give loan level pricing. That's what they're usually going to want, is loan level pricing. That means each loan has an offering on it. And I run some formulas. Usually what we're doing is we're bidding on assets where the borrower's made a payment in the last year. Okay. Especially the last 6 months. Depends on the size of the portfolio. If that's the case, especially if it's contract for deeds, their evictions are fast in, fast out. If I can get half of those that we end up buying modified, I'm usually going to sit at somewhere between a 25 and 30% yield, just based off the numbers alone. So I run my numbers down. 12 months of payments, what's that number? Divide that by a 30 yield, divide that by 0.3. There's my bid. Okay, make sure that number, whatever that calculation is, obviously less than the unpaid balance and less than the fair market value. I don't want to be above 50% of rough market value. Now, I'm not having a realtor drive out and look at all 30 assets. I'm not even jumping on to start pulling title on those 30 assets. We'll look at some of the photos online, which doesn't take long to do. I mean, you can drop all 30 in a batch geo and get photos relatively quickly. You can also drop all 30 into notepros.com, NOTEPROZ, notepros.com / Scott Carson. We'll give you a nice discount on it. But notepros.com, and they'll pull up rough numbers. High, medium, low, that kind of stuff. For the most part, I'm not getting bent out of shape on the front end, because if I submit 30, I know I'm probably only going to end up with counters on 20. Why am I going to spend all my time on assets I know that I'm probably going to kill half the time? But what I want to do, Mr. Flipbucks, Mr. One Kings 1990, what I want to do, though, is I want to control the assets. I want to get that asset manager on the other side thinking he's reeling in a big fish, which I'm a big fish. We're going to go big. All right. Go big. I've been working out lately. Yeah. Ooh. All right. But a bulk offering of 30, a bulk offering of 60, a bulk offering of 100 is much more attractive than a one-off. All right. A one-off asset isn't that sexy to your seller. 30 assets, 60 assets, even 5 is more sexy than one asset. Especially when you look at what the sellers have. What do they have? Do they have 100 they're moving? Do they have 70 they're moving? Do they have whatever they have that they're moving? What do they have available to move? And how can you position yourself to be more attractive? How do you do that? You go big. You go bigger on the front end. Now, yes, you still kill assets off. They counter back. Now you've got hard numbers to work with. If their number counters back, or they accept my offer to counter backs and it makes sense based on our due diligence and everything like that, great. We're getting ready to rock and roll. We're moving to the next phase. We're either going to accept or counter. Even if they accepted it and I find out in due diligence, oh, it needs this, it's missing this, or there's a lien on it, or whatever. I still counterback with my acceptance. Said, listen, sorry, bud. I dove down and says we're doing some individual due diligence on this stuff. We found some things that didn't make sense that we need to go ahead and counter our accept. I know I offered this up, but as we dive in, check taxes, that kind of stuff, we will even counter some of the acceptance back and forth. And the thing to keep in mind, we're still at a bulk offering. So they're still more willing to do that because the fact is that, well, I can move 30 assets instead of one. Or I'll say, listen, I don't really want this asset anymore. If you want to, I'll take it. You throw it in for free. But as far as where it's at, I'm not going to, I value it at zero. And then I'll still get assets thrown in for free sometimes. That makes sense for us because we got them for free. All right. Versus one-off. And that's what you have to realize. A lot of buyers and note investors out there are all worried about the individual deal, not the bulk deal. Because in a bulk deal, you've got some leeway, even with it, if you end up with 30 out of 100 or even 10 out of 30, you've got a little leeway there. If you're adding, especially when you're raising capital from your investors. Now that's always the next phase. Like, oh my gosh, it's a $600,000 trade or it's $1 million trade. I mean, I've had my staff flip out because I was somewhere and I said, let's just submit the bid. And it's like, it's 1.3 million. Yeah, submit the bid. When it gets approved, it's not going to be the whole thing. It's going to be some natural. It does going to be the whole thing. Guess what? We're having fun. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, how are you going to raise capital for that? Don't they want you to close in 3 days? No, the fact that you go big, when you go big, you have more time for due diligence. You have more time for your marketing. You have more time to raise capital for the closing, okay? Now, if I'm going to close on 30 assets, that doesn't mean I'm going to fund with one investor. Sometimes I have. Other times I've broken it up. Okay, you're going to fund these 3. You're going to fund these 4. You're going to fund these 5. They're on individual deals with me. It's not pooling money. They're individual deals to take some stuff like that. The thing to keep in mind is most times it's a spreadsheet. So I can see what it is. And somebody says, hey, I got 50 grand or I got 75 grand. Great. Let me take that 75 grand. Let me carve you out a chunk of this and we'll joint venture on these 3 or we'll joint venture on these 4. What I'll do when I have people that come to me with money like that is I usually rank the assets. Let me give you, we got 30 assets. I'll rank them 1 to 30. Okay. And 30 or number 1 will be the one that's probably the highest ROI with a decent value. 30 will be the one that maybe it's a 24% yield because I'm not going to usually do anything less than 25% yield. So 25% yield. Maybe I'm a little bit higher on the investment to value, which is okay. So that's 1 to 30. So if it's 8 grand to buy that one, 10 grand to buy this one, the bottom one, that's what I do. Well, I got people that bring me 50, 50, 50. Okay. Take the top one, take the bottom one. That's going to you. Second one, 29. That's going to the investor 3 or investor 2. Number 3 and 28 is going to investor 3. You get how we're kind of random and awesome, but it's leveraging it out so that if they do a weighted net average of those 3, it should still yield a pretty good, decent return. They're not getting one person's not getting all the best of the assets and one person's left with a bundle. They're getting a nice mixed batch to it. And we got a couple questions, a couple comments here from people, which is awesome. So Laura Blanc says, loving this concept. And Laura, you have started to embrace this a little bit with your note business. I know you were struggling a little bit initially, bought a few assets, working through those assets and putting the business on hold as far as going out and finding new deals, which I get. Hey, everybody struggles with that. But I think you've understand. You spend an hour with me here in my offices, we'll get you back on track really fast. Vitali, okay. Scott, when we submit bids, what do we say bids are contingent on? Okay. First and foremost, Vitali, most of your bids that you're submitting into these hedge funds or sellers like that, hey, it's contingent on value being there, true value, especially they give you a value. They give you an estimate, all right. Taxes aren't doing, you don't have to be over analytical. Submit a bid in, hey, these are contingent on good conditions, decent title, taxes being, up to date, or even here's my bid minus taxes owed sometimes will work. The idea here isn't overthink and make it difficult for your seller. You want the seller to get pardon the phrase, get turned on by your bid, get nodally aroused, not sexually, nodally aroused, entrepreneurially aroused. Woo, I got all these little one-off bids, but boom, I got, Laura showed up to the party, Vitali showed up to the party. Who's this guy? Who's this gal who just submitted 10 bids or 20 bids? Woo, all right, let's see. How their bids look. And when you're brand new, I know you're going to be scared shitless. I'm going to submit 40 bids and not do all the due diligence on the front end. I know that. You have to realize your time, your time is worth something. And I see so many people wasting so much time on, oh, I'm going to do my due diligence on 3 assets, and then I'll submit my bids. No, don't do that. All right. Go big, submit a big deal, rest for a few days while they're determining your bids. That gives you time to dive in and do a little bit more due diligence. Oh, hey, you start looking at more of the online values, pulling taxes out. Oh, hey, this one's got $5,000 taxes out. Or hey, this one's a tax sale. Make a mental note. We need to kill that asset when they counter back in. Start lining up your realtors to drive by the assets once you get accepted back. The worst thing you want to do is send realtors out to look at assets that you haven't bid on yet, and they wasted their time. You paid them $50, and then you get the bid back, and it's gone. And so I only say that because I was banging my head like a drum, bang a drum. All right, just like so many other people. Oh, like I get realtor to drive by it, and you're hustling. I'm like, screw that. Let's not hustle so hard. Let's not work so hard. Boom. Let's just submit 100 bids on our numbers. Run a couple numbers. Make it simple. And let's see where they come back. Because the idea is, you've heard the saying in negotiations, he who mentions a number first loses, right? Okay. Laura's laughing at me. That's funny. Good stuff. Look, and the big thing is here is the idea is if I'm submitting a number, I'm not losing. I'm just throwing something out. I'm throwing a rough number out. It's not really a solid number, but I want the seller to counter. I want them to give me their number. When they give me their number, then I can really see, oh, that makes sense. Oh, no, that doesn't make any sense. Because they come back and say contract for deed, it's worth 50, borrower owes 48 plus back payments. I think it's worth 50, and they counter back at like 32 for it. It's a non-performer. Like, no, that's 60 cents of the value. I'm not buying it. I'll just kill that. Okay, no, my offer was 15 for these reasons, okay, or 20 for these reasons. The whole idea is just to see what's going on, is to get the number. When they come back with a hard number, that is really the first number. Me submitting a bid in with I'm running numbers across the board, roughly at a 25-30 yield, that's where it makes sense. Now, Juan asked a question here on Instagram, how can I get started in notes? Brokering? No, I would not be a broker, Juan, because you only... there's too many joker brokers out there. If you want to get invested in notes, start doing notes, you need to be an investor. You need to evaluate the deals like you're going to buy the asset for your own portfolio. Too many people are out there throwing spaghetti against the wall, trying to get something to stick. They're trying to get something to stick, but they don't know even what they're looking at, if it makes sense or the pricing doesn't make sense. So if you really want to get started, you need to take and understand what's going on in the business. You should probably check out one of our workshops. Our next virtual note buying workshop is July 20th through the 22nd. That's a Friday through Saturday. So Friday through Sunday, 20th through the 22nd. It's online. You can go to weclosenotes.com to check that out. All right. But no, brokering isn't a good. The wholesaling, it's okay, but you still need to know what you have. Too many brokers, too many wholesalers out there are slinging shit that they have no clue if there's any value to it. Okay. Oh, hey, here's a deal that only needs $500 in lipstick and just a touch up, and it needs new carpet. It's got holes in the wall. The AC decided to take a break and go for a walkabout. You have to realize, guys, if you're going to go big, if you're going to be in this business, you really need to go big. The people that are buying 2-3 assets, not only are you paying through the nose because you're buying probably the premium of a portfolio, but you're overpaying. You really don't have a lot of room for any type of that can happen, or God forbid you're buying for one particular exit strategy. Like I had somebody in Raleigh-Durham, when I was speaking up at that the Triangle Investment Club, talk about buying. Oh, I only buy for hardest hit fund states. And I'm like, that's a crock. You should never ever count on the hardest hit funds to be your primary exit strategy. Okay. That's just pure gravy on top, everybody. Pure gravy on top if that ever happens, okay? So always when you're buying, look at the fact is that, hey, you're going to take down and work those assets if you have to, okay? I'll give you that. We've bought a lot last year, especially, we're coming on a year We've got a lot of stuff that's been paying. We've got some hit and misses. We got some that we're getting cancellations of contract to sell these assets off. In the next 90 days, we will be turning and burning a lot of our portfolio. We've got a lot that's been reinstated, a lot been modified, a lot have gone from non-performing to performing. So we're making some decisions on that stuff. Okay, do we keep this? Do we get rid of it? Do we sell this off to a performer? To performing investor? Do we refinance out JV partners with cheaper money? There's a whole variety of questions that we're working through here, and talking to servicers and stuff like that in the last couple of days on exactly where we are and how we stand in our portfolio and that stuff is going to be. You're going to see some great stuff over the next few weeks. Case studies. You can see us talking about some specific assets of why we went this way, what we did, how we sold it, how we marketed it, how we got it sold. But like I said, guys, at the beginning, and gals, because there's just as much women doing notes as there are guys. It's pretty even split, 50-50, men and women. What you have to realize is first and foremost, more than anything else, you can't be scared of going big. You have to realize I'm going to buy in a couple states, or I'm going to buy in a couple cities, not just one. The more micro of a business you have, the worse off you're going to be. You want to be bigger. You want to be macro, large size, taking things down. So you want to get from 0 to 20 assets as soon as possible. But that also requires you having systems, requires you do need a staff, whether it's virtual assistants or somebody helping you to handle the paperwork. Okay? Helping you handle the paperwork. This is why you need good vendors to help you out with most of the stuff. We've got, we're doing a conference call tonight for our WCN crew members, and where we're rolling out a specific concierge. It's something we rolled out for our mastermind group, Glass Mastermind. Those that really took advantage of it. We'll talk about a little bit more at the next mastermind in August. But this is something we'll talk about the WCN crew tonight, because those are the guys and gals that are going out buying assets. They're building their business up to the point where they come, dude, go big, right? We're also excited. We've got some great people coming in this weekend who are going to go big, are going big already, and they're working their way up to bigger and better things. The whole concept I'm trying to get at, because I see people struggling. All right. I see people struggling because the fact is they still have they have a self-employed mindset versus an entrepreneur mindset. When they're still trying to do themselves, where they give them the excuse, I can't afford an assistant. Yeah, you can. You just don't realize that you're spending money on stuff that you should be paying somebody else to do. Okay. Yes, Eric Hyde. You'll learn a little bit this weekend. We're excited to see you come in. All right. Eric asks, who are the great people coming in this weekend? A little blow your own horn, why don't we, Mr. Eric Hyde, huh? Laura says, Laura and Gil Villanova are going to have dinner tomorrow night. Well, that's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff, Lollipop. Good stuff. Glad to see that. We got some good people coming. You have to wait and see. All right. Eric's already shared that. Gail Villanova's has shared that. We've got some just great stuff going on. We're excited about this weekend. Just, if I can tell you anything else, go big. When I get a tape in, like I did yesterday, it's got 400 plus assets. It's got a portfolio of different things on it. There's a lot of opportunity still out there that most people, you're small fish, people trying to do one-off assets. Yes, Eric, we know that you're kidding. Just love giving you a little ribbing back to you, buddy. There's still a lot of opportunity available in this industry for people to make money and do things big. Because right now, I would simply say the rest of this next year, the remaining 6 months of 2018, we're going to see some major changes. I think we're already seeing it when you see the Dow take a big hit like it did a couple of days ago. You see these tariffs going up by China. You're watching any of the news about the stuff getting backed up. We're going to hit some economic skids here, I think, in the next 12 months. It's the turn that we're seeing. And when I start seeing my fix and flippers, my guys that are buying, my friends that are buying hundreds of houses a year in different parts of the country, and they're talking about 100% financing, people are putting zero down, or the 3.5% is being given to them, or we see the creative loans, the non-prime stuff coming back again, non-prime is the new subprime coming back. That's not going to last long. You can't build a foundation on sand, okay? You can't build a solid foundation on quicksand, because eventually it will suck you in and it'll blow things up. But this is why it's important for us as investors, people investing in debt. Get your systems in place. Get things ready to go big, because when that windfall hits again, you're going to want to roll up your sleeves. You're going to want to put on your napkin, your bib, or your lobster bib like it's Thanksgiving dinner, and you're an all-you-can-eat turkey dressing, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce with gravy buffet, because it's going to be like that. I guarantee by Thanksgiving time, which is literally in about 5 months, we're going to see some major changes taking place. We're going to see some amazing things taking place in the industry, and you count my word. Reimagine Prime. That's great. That's an interesting, but non-prime is what we'll call it there, Steph. But anyway, so if anything, like I say, I challenge you all to go big. Make things happen. Go big in your business. Set some big goals for you, because as you've always heard the saying, if you shoot for the moon and miss, you'll end up in the stars. You've still done some big things. And so shoot for this moon. If you end up in the stars, you do some amazing things. If you set big goals for yourself to do 100 deals this year and you end up with 30, hey, that's still better than saying I want to do 30 and end up with 10. We're all capable of bigger things. If you've ever done the thing, I talked about this on Note Night in America the other night, about being able to reach up, reach a little bit higher, reach up. You can stand up and reach higher. You can get your tippy toes. You can pull out something and try to reach a little bit higher. Challenge yourself to do bigger things, because if you miss, you're going to still do amazing things with some big stuff. You're still going to grow much more exponentially larger than if you're just, well, I'm only going to do a little bit. Little bit didn't get you anywhere. You can't get wet by just sticking your toe in the water. You've got to dive into that deep end, dive in the pool. It's the only way you're going to learn how to swim. And those that are just dipping their toes in are so busy sitting on the sidelines complaining about how cold the water is, or complaining how hot the water is. That's fine. Let them complain. In today's society, we have more negative people than we've ever had before, who have voices, be it social media and other things, who can be negative. That's fine. Just be prepared to rid yourself of them, or realize that when they're going to sit out there and namesayers are going to call you things or do things or say you can't do this business, you can do this business. You can make things happen. I believe in each and every one of you, as long as you're the right mindset and you're coachable. That's what it comes down to. Not being scared of success, but embrace it. So that's all I've got for you guys today. As I say, go out, go big, or go home. And we look forward to seeing you all at the top. Everybody, have a great hump day. Bye.